On this episode of the MHO show, we go in search of where AV is hiding. Is it still just an AV department? Is it just a part of that IT group that you think? Or has it gone off into something else? That and more on the next MHO show.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Say what?
I don't think so.
Are you serious? It's not always what you think.
This is the MHO Show, episode 18, AV Hide and Seek. Support for AVNation is brought to you by Kramer, AV Beyond the Box.
This is the MHO Show.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the MHO show. And in this episode, which you probably got in that trailer ahead of it, we're going to go find some AV. And it's not typically the places where you think it is. See, one of the things that we at the MHO like to do is find out what's going on in the world of AV. And that doesn't necessarily mean waiting around for people to tell us where to find AV folks. So while Mike is off at BLC looking for the next generation of talent, we're out kicking rocks looking for the people that are actually working in AV. And the thing that I heard is that AV and IT are not just sitting in a nice little cubicle somewhere in corporate AV world. They've gone off and have been deployed to other sides of our business. So should we start with where are we and where have we gone? Mike, let's first, do we intro you now or do we intro you later? Mike Shin, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi. Hello, everybody. It's good to be back.
That's awesome. Love the caveman drawings. They are awesome.
Yeah, I spent about 7.5 hours of working hours time today. Nobody please tell Tom Berry Jr. But other than that, it's been an effective transition.
Well, at least your colors are all right. And, I'll get you a ruler. So you'll be okay for the next one.
Yeah, well, actually, if you just tilt the camera that way. Look, see, it's perfect.
See,
now it's perfect.
If we all stand on one foot, now it's perfectly straight. Look at you. That's awesome. Melissa, please make sense of Mike's hieroglyphics. How are you tonight?
I have nothing. I'm so confused.
Don't be.
I love Mike's hieroglyphics. I'm doing great. And this AV gal is sitting right here in Atlanta, Georgia. So
yes,
all's well.
Yes, excellent. So let's get to cracking. AV people typically, they were their own group back in the day, and I'm talking about 10 years ago, not too far back for the people that are watching this that are maybe, just over 20 that are now in the business. AV people used to have their own department. Imagine that. They used to push carts around with TVs, big TVs and VCRs and stuff like that. But things changed. We were warned about the AV IT convergence, and then all of a sudden, all of the fellow troops got pushed off into the IT world. Welcome to AV IT. Now comes news that we're finding AV and IT people being pushed out of their own group. I hear that in some cases they're being deployed to the facilities group. Now, Mike, when you first started in the business, was facilities a part of the conversation when you were brought into the site meetings and site conversations?
Well, it depended, Chris. I mean, obviously, a lot of the business was dictated by consultants, was dictated by, the facilities teams that are working on a build out, whether that's the project managers, whether that's the property management that is associated with the firm. So naturally, facilities was always a big proponent of it. And then I think I saw, shortly in early in my career, facilities kind of owned it because IT went, not on my network. I don't want it, not on my network. So facilities kind of, just fell victim to having to own it. But they didn't understand really the technology. They didn't really care, to be honest with you, about the technology. They just wanted to get the project done and move forward. Now we're seeing then we saw a shift over to, all right, well, wait a minute, all these devices have a network connection? Oh, then we need to own it. And so IT stepped up and they were like, wait a minute, what are you putting on my network? I need this. I think a lot of that came out of executive sponsorship. executives that were saying, I understand you as the IT department don't want it on your network, but I pay your bills and I pay your salary, so you're going to put it on the network. And now they were forced into kind of owning it. And now, after a couple of years of them controlling it, they're realizing, wait, facilities still needs to be involved. So facilities is coming back in. So now it's like a convergence of I love that word. That's one of my friend's favorite words. Convergence.
Now trademark, you're good.
Now we're seeing a convergence of these different teams finally finding their role, because the AV industry requires all of them to be involved. And we've been just bouncing around, getting passed around like I'm not going to finish that line. And, as a result, now we're finally getting everybody to realize that if we work well as a team, then we can actually accomplish great things.
Melissa, how do we allow facilities as part of the Holy Trinity here? Do we bring them in and allow them?
No, you really didn't, did you?
I just did. I mean, you know what? It's IT, AV, facilities, they all have to work together. I'm thinking that, you have the technology, you have the infrastructure, you sort of now need the know-how. And I think we all work together pretty well. What do you think? Now that I've made you completely lose your train of thought.
Oh, I love this. You guys are right today. You know what? I think if we come back under facilities umbrella, that would be the best thing for everybody. I've heard in the last 6-7 months, a lot of IT guys going, we're done with AV. We've spun them back off to where they were. And I've held that accountable for some time. I've said the IT guys are never going to get as deeply involved with the experience as what the AV folks do. Yeah. IT wants it so many feet, there's your drop, have a great day, right? We get involved in what's actually going to take place in the room.
The experience, the environment of the experience is, 50% of the experience is the environment.
Yep.
And many of us have dealt with issues where you get a room and you're told, put all this into that space, 10 pounds of turkey in a 5-pound bag. But there's also the instance where you're being forced you're being told, hey, here's a video conference system and we're going to make this work in this tiny space. Now, as AV professionals, you're like, yes, you can make video conference work just about anywhere because, man, everything's going mobile. But now you got a device. So this device is going into the space. And a lot of times you are putting devices in spaces because the users are nearby, not because the room is appropriate. So bringing that facility side into the piece and saying, hey, can you find us a little bit bigger room that we could put this equipment in? Because I think the people will be a little happier. Can you find another one close by? But one of the things that I found interesting about the rumors of this, three group merger here, IT and facilities do very good things with metrics and analytics. Me, Mike, we've discussed this. We love it because the only way you're going to justify future spend, attention AV only people that have never heard of analytics or metrics, this is how you decide whether you're selling 2 systems or 20 systems. It's based on the utilization, and those numbers are very, very important. And it's regardless of what system you're using from whatever manufacturer, you have to have the numbers. So I sort of like where this is going because I'm also a big proponent of the only thing that is future-proof is conduit. Give me conduit to everywhere in the room, and I will make anything happen regardless of what you say about wireless. I'm sure it's coming, and it'll be wonderful. But we're AV people still. We like a hard wire put in there somewhere. So let's continue with that. Mike, am I off in thinking that this could be a better marriage of 3 different industries or 3 different groups by putting a representative of AV and IT within the facilities group so that when the planning is being done, that the planning is also being thought with technology in mind? Because last I checked, technology is what's it's now the carrot that's driving people into spaces. Hey, we're going to give you X amount of rooms and collaboration spaces and we'll give you every buzzword that you want. You go with that. How's that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be game changing. Obviously, we need to have a voice, but we've been saying that for 25 years and have never been given the credit to actually have a seat at that table. Hopefully now the smarter architectural firms, the smarter facilities firms, the smarter IT departments are realizing that we have a very specialized product that is based off of specification and are inviting us in to have discussions early on during those design phases. Ultimately, what I think is going to get us there is not just the fact that we exist and the technology continues to evolve around us, but instead, if we were to adopt the model of going after collection of the data, Chris, tracking usage. And there are many different products out on the market right now that give us the capability to be able to track the usage of a system and the usage of a space. How often is the document camera used? In this room, it's used 4 times in a month. Do we really need a document camera in every room? But then in accounting, it's used, 17 times a week. Okay, then obviously, that justifies the use of that technology. So where we get to add our value add to our organizations is in that we can actually show them cost savings and shifting the ROI, shifting the investment to make sure that we're meeting the needs of each of the business units.
See, now you said something very interesting, and I'm going to pose the question to Melissa. IT is very much a swap off the shelf environment. Blade server, computer. Your computer's down, take it down to the service desk, swap it out. AV doesn't work that way. I mean, for the most part. So there's always been that hesitation from the AV side of the business of how we're going to become IT with the way IT services customers, because you're just not pulling amps out of racks. Well, that one you probably can. Excuse me. But there's other stuff in there that, like a DSP. Well, maybe you could do that too. Maybe I'm wrong. How's that?
How about the control processor, Chris? How about the control processor?
I was doing that for effect. Come on now, Mike. Of course we can swap some things out, but not everything. So Melissa, my question is, does the analytics, does the IT mentality, does it hinder what we do in AV? That one stop out, off the shelf, get it in. And I mean, the idea behind it is great. But not every box fits that the user needs.
What I find interesting is in AV, it's tough to sell redundancy gear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In IT, apparently that's a no-brainer. But in AV, nobody wants to buy the redundancy. So I do think it's difficult. There are some products you can swap, but even like you said, your example of an audio conferencing processor, you're not switching brands. That's a whole new write-up, right?
Yep.
My concern, and I've been following this with you two for a while. You guys live in the big city while I'm down here in the South. In the big city, obviously,
you guys got stickers when you voted. It was awesome.
I do. I get in the big cities, the cost of real estate and your ROI has now become extremely important, that we don't maybe see in the Midwest and the rural areas quite as much yet. What I'm concerned about is, as usual, the education. And it's great to collect that data. Who's going to analyze it? Okay, I think we need to make sure we understand the utilization rates, et cetera, how to be able to really correctly interpret those and present them. Mm-hmm. Now, someone like Mike Shin, of course, he can do it. But I'm talking about just the general, AV guy. I think we do need to make sure that we know how to analyze and report those numbers in an effective way.
Yeah, and you're right on point with that, Melissa. It's the square footage of space is extremely high in this side of the country, and obviously Mr. Shrago, a friend of ours, who you can find on Twitter as Jay Shrago, he will tell you that San Francisco is even more expensive. So when you start dealing with these big cities, like you said, the square footage and the bodies per square foot become an issue. open space planning is something that I've been talking about for years, that the design is very nice, very chic, but you're now taking a spot that used to be, herds of people in cubes. And now you've basically cut a floor that handled 300 people, and now you got 125. And that's the open airy feel. That's a lot of cheddar being spent, on floor space and how valuable square footage is. But like you said, it's how you read that. Mike, we just cannot rely anymore on data that's being spit out of an MCU and an Outlook calendar to make these decisions. Is that correct?
You're absolutely right. But that is also the opportunity, because that's the value add that a partner who understands the technology, who can offer a remote monitoring service, who can offer the ability to break down these numbers. And no, Melissa, I can't do it personally, but I do have team members that can and do, that, can help our customers to understand the usage of their rooms around the globe, if not just nationally or even in just one facility. So it's that point that we need as an industry to actually evaluate. Let me start over. It's that point that we need as an industry to evolve into in order to be the value add that we're looking for, that creates recurring monthly revenue, that creates higher profit margins, that replaces the margins that we've been losing on equipment sales over the last 15 years. And, you just need to find the right data analytics people to be able to provide that kind of a solution.
That's crazy talk, Mike Shin. That's crazy talk. We don't talk that way in AV. You know that. But thank you, sir.
I'm sorry. What I meant to say was, once it's done, it's done.
Yes, a favorite term in the AV world. Once again, sir, you have blown my mind. I would just like to say that this has been the MHO show. And the reason why we were bringing this up is obviously because we do feel that there is some ripple effects happening within the industry of not just AV, IT, but now welcome in your furniture people, your plumbers, your electricians, because guess what? We're all going to be living in the same place. It's going to be like some crazy like college dorm thing. So get used to it, AV tweeps, because this is where we're going to go. I'm just saying that now. It is March. Yeah, we'll talk about this in June when we're on our way to InfoComm. Is that correct, Melissa?
That is absolutely correct.
We will see you in Orlando in June. Hopefully I will be there. I know these two very smart people will be. But Melissa, up until the InfoComm trip that we will, or pilgrimage that we will be doing, where can people find you online?
Hey, you can find me on Twitter at Melissa Dillman, and the email's melissa.dillman@starin.biz.
Excellent. You, sir, Mr. Mike, the man with the plan.
And the drum.
People can find me on Twitter at AXPMike. They can find me on all of the other social media that's out there. And if you want to find out more about me and my company, it's varix.com.
There you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the MHO show. My name's Chris. You can find me at Chris_Netto on Twitter, AVShout on Instagram, AVNation.tv, and you can find me with my company, which is AVHelpdesk.com. That is our website. On behalf of my co-hosts and people, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the MHO show.